little bit. Or not. Okay, not to worry. Duck. Okay, we have bales on a trailer. Awesome stuff. We can turn the work light off. We can take these over to the somewhere I haven't been yet. Okay, map. Barn is there. I'm going to have to put the bat signal on. How do we do that? Oh, we do that from here. It should be sufficient. 282 per 1,000 litres. Let's go find the bat signal. Oh, this tractor is having issues. Well, that's really not surprising. We've only got 85 horsepower here and we're hauling 10 bales. Should probably do that too. This is a Valtra A with 85 horsepower. It's a mod, and I can't remember who did it. The mod is available on fs-uk.com. And basically what the modder did was, it looks like he went through the Valtra brochure and selected all of the available engine options and the Valtra paint color options, and remodded the in-game tractors to match the Valtra production. It also says on the help text for the mod that he priced them per the brochure, so realistic pricing. Now this tractor in its current form is $10,000 or £10,000 because I'm in the UK, although it should probably be euros because I think I'm in Ireland. We drive on the left because that's the side of the road that the signposts are all on, but these are not standard UK signposts and the speed limit is in kilometres an hour. I'm going to bring up the okay, looks like I want to turn left there, but we are driving on the left because of the way the signs say. The A series, yeah, the mod pack itself contains the A, the N, the T and the S, but it contains a larger range of engines and larger range of tyre options and more limited paint options, because Valtra really doesn't have all of the paint options that Giants have given it. I think we go in here. Yes, we do. So as I said, this one comes with engine size ranging from 80 horsepower through to 130. The game version comes with 100 and 110 only. And as we take those off, we'll drop and sell. And we've made some money. So yes, if we go to, kind of went through this already, but not to worry. So, Mod Series A and the N. Main colours, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, black, white and silver. They come in standard and metallic for each one. Colours, all the colours. Configuration standard or with a 500 weight. If you have it in standard, you can have the front loader attacher. Wheel setup. Standard, wheel weights, wide weights, rear twins, all the twins, narrows. You can have Nokian with communal tyres, that's it for that. And the engine setup. We start at 85 horsepower, so this is about £13,000 cheaper than the in-game tractor. It's not until we get up to this model, 100 horsepower, that we are at the level of the in-game version. That's the other in-game engine, 110, but this then goes up to 120 and 130. So I saved myself some money by buying an 85 horsepower tractor, and it does struggle with 10 bales on the back of a bale trailer. But with this farm, it's not a significant detriment to have a small low power tractor. The N series also has exact same paint options as does the S. Engine options range from 115, where is it? 125, 135, 45, 65, 201. So it has the same top end engines, but I think the in-game starts 135, 145, 165, 210. So I've got 35, 25 and 15 options, which the in-game one doesn't have. They can have mudguard flares on, which means that they have wide enough to mudguard over the wide tyres. They have doubles, twins on front and back, narrows, narrowed back, and back to standard. Nokian, standard with wheel weights, wide weights. So a little bit more options there, and you've still got the front loader option. And the front loader option, so you've got the main colour, we can go metallic orange. The design option is the colour of the front loader attacher, and then the rim colours are obviously that. Anyway, we're just trying that one out, and I'm using the same mod pack on my Maypole Manor. I've got the S series, and I picked a 190 horsepower engine because I need something with at least 180. So I didn't take 180 because you usually have to have a little bit more power to move the tractor as well as operate the equipment on the back. But the T series I think starts at about 210, 220, so obviously buying it with a 190 horse engine does give me does mean I save myself a little bit of money. There's my farm. So we're done with bales. I now need to get that field ploughed because it says it needs ploughing, so I'm assuming I'm losing some production because need ploughed reduces your yield. We're also going to need to weed some fields. I'm going to take this over here. We'll put the sides back on it because I think the next thing we're going to be doing is harvesting some places. I'll put forward a bit, jump out, and yes, customize. So because I took the full option when I bought it, this upgrade. Oh, okay. So that option costs me nothing. Those two options cost me nothing. That costs me nothing because that's how I bought it. But the 1130 does cost me. That's interesting. Okay. Anyway, we'll customize it to 18,000 litres. That's bigger than the Strelbulk that comes with in-game. Okay, I am done with the front loader too, so we'll drop that off by the shed. And we can turn off the flashy lights. Oh, we need to check the fields. I know there's some that have. So 60 has weeds, 50 has weeds, growth rate states are. I think we can get away with standard wheels on them at the moment. So 60 has weeds. Now we managed to get into that field earlier. I believe the entrance is the next one up. Here we go. Yes. Now, we'll make sure. So it could be wrong. Yes, that one has weeds. So I think what happened on this particular field was I was planting it as the weeds appeared. And so I ended up with weeds along this strip at the end, but no weeds on the rest of the field after planting. So I'm going to stick that on a worker. I'm going to get this hello. And please let me know if the sound is too loud on this one, because it does sound a lot louder than the other the other equipment I'm running. Not that I can alter the volume of individual vehicles, but I can just turn the in-game equipment down. Okay, we want to go through here, I believe. Yes. Kind of staying in the cab because it is likely to be a little bit loud if I get out. I am going to have to get out to plough. Well, maybe. That is one of the problems with this map, is the trees do get a little bit close to where you're working. Very easy to find yourself suddenly visually challenged by the local flora. So I am going to reseed this grass. It's just that the report says it needs to be ploughed, so we will plough it. Yes, you two can reverse in a straight line. Let's find out how close we are. I think I missed some of the edge of the field. There we go. If I jump out, yeah, this needs ploughed. This bit doesn't. I don't think grass is particularly heavy on the seed usage, so I'm not too fussed about ploughing this up and reseeding it. Also, I do have another bag of seed at the store for when the seeder is emptied. Also, I'm not sure this field was particularly well planted, and there's some gaps at the edge, like here. There's a gap at the edge, so we'll be able to correct that too. And again here. Now I'm probably likely able to skip a lot of the fertilizing this time round, because I had to plough in so many of the fields. Like I said at the beginning, I 2 beet fields and 1 cotton field. I cannot afford the harvesting equipment for either, so it's just easier to plough the stuff in and replant it immediately. I planted 2 of them with canola and 1 with wheat, I believe. So now we can go up and down. I only bought the 3 metre culti plough. I probably could have got the 4 metre one. This tractor's 130 horsepower, so it barely has the capacity, but everything else is 3 metres. I'm guessing I could probably fit the Amazon seeder on the back and do, well, no, I can't do this all as one go, because the horsepower requirements are additive, and dropping the seeder on the back of this would push us way over the rated output for this tractor. The seeder's nearly done. Oh, sorry, our weeder's nearly done. This will add a layer of fertilisation to this field, so we should be at 2 late stages of fertilisation, because we already cut it once. It's not just oilseed radish that grants you a level of fertilisation when you cultivate it in. It's any plant will give you a level of fertilisation if you cultivate it in. It's just that oilseed radish uses significantly less seed than any of the other crop types, so it's a much cheaper way of getting fertilising out of a cultivated in crop. However, it does take longer to grow. So you will be waiting for your oilseed radish far longer than you would wait for, say, a field of wheat. So those of you who just started watching, this is also the new mod that came into the game on Friday, I believe. It's a 1993 to 1995 Deutz Fahr, believe the 6X2. This particular model is the 632, I believe, which has a 130 horsepower engine. It's got a drop nose which supposedly gives you better field of view. It comes as either standard or with a series of weights. I've picked, they're approximately 250, 500, 750, 1000. They're actually not, they're a little bit more than that. I took the 750-ish weight. If you have a weight on the front, you can't outfit it with a front loader. If you take it as standard or with a front front PTO, then you can fit a front loader to it. Tractor itself costs you less than 20,000 base, which I believe comes with a 100 horsepower engine. In the current configuration, I think I got it for about 27. Now, obviously, when I first looked at it, I thought $17,000 for a 100 horsepower tractor, you're pulling my leg. That's way too cheap. However, because it's a 1993 through 1995 production, this tractor is 20 years old, second hand. So I think £17,000 to buy it isn't such a joke. For the most part, I'm a little bit reticent about buying or using mods which are totally cheap. However, I mean the Fendt Favorite 500C, is it 500? Whatever it is. That is very cheap as well. But once again, it's an older tractor. So the price is probably a little bit more accurate. My personal opinion is the Fendt Favorite is a great starting tractor because you have power attacher, PTO front and back. You can have a 150 horsepower engine and a front loader, and fully loaded it'll cost you less than $100,000. So if you want a beginning tractor, it does make sense. Now this farm here, I really don't need a 150 horsepower tractor. Plus I wanted to try out some mods. And I can't afford even 100,000 for a tractor. My two tractors to get combined have cost me less than $80,000. My harvester cost me quite a bit more than that. We haven't played with that yet. I'm not sure how close my fields are to being ready to harvest yet. We'll check on that once we're done with the ploughing and seeding, and I think I might want to jump over to the other tractor briefly because that's finished. Okay, you are in field 60 and we missed a little bit down the end there. I'll go and chip that out, and then we'll move over to 50. 44 started. Ugh. So yeah, as you can see there, that field needed ploughed. This field needs ploughed, but it's got crop in it that's growing. So I'm not going to mess with that right now. I'll live with it. I've already destroyed too much crops. And so destroying one that I can actually harvest when I've got so little money and so much in loans, that's kind of a bad deal, or a bad idea. So we'll live with the yield as it is. I went with exactly the same thing on Maypole Manor. All of the fields need ploughed, all of the fields need limed. Field 18 was ready to plant, and I just said, no, I need stuff in the ground growing. And it's going to take me a full day to plough it, and another significant amount of time to lime it as well, and then seed it. And I don't really have the time to wait, so straight off the bat I just said, okay, seed it and we'll worry about yield after we've harvested it. Obviously field 15 on that map was ready to harvest, also needed ploughed and limed, but I harvested that. That gives me some money, and from there, which field do I want? The one in front of me, this one here. That one I did lime and fertilise immediately. Because, my opinion for that was I have the time because I've already got some money out of this field. Yeah, we're not destroying the crop because it's too early in its growth stage. Okay, go back here and carry on ploughing. The other thing with the state of the fields on Maypole Manor is I figured, okay, it needs ploughed, which is yield is minus 15% off base, and it needs limed, which I believe is another 15. You don't get a 15% bonus. So all I'm losing on is from 100% yield. It's not ploughed. So that's minus 15. I can overcome that minus 15 just by putting fertiliser down. And because you've got the horse pronto, which seeds and fertilises at the same time, I've already got one level of fertilisation. So I've overcome the deficit. I'm not going to get 165% yield, but I'm at least going to make more than 100% yield on that field. And that's kind of acceptable. Plus, the line costs a fortune, and as I said, the ploughing took about 6 hours. So I had to repair the plough about 3 times. So not ploughing immediately, especially since the field was cultivated and ready to go, was a wise move on that map. And the thing with the horse pronto is it doesn't need cultivated either, so it cultivates its seeds and it fertilises all in one pass. But I think sometimes it's worth taking time out to plough if you've got the time. On this map I've had the, obviously this field was ready to go, so I'm not ploughing this one until I'd harvested it once. The other grass field needs to be ploughed, but I'm not going to touch that until I've mowed it once. At least get some money out of it. And then we have the sunflowers. That needs to be ploughed. But since the sunflowers were in the ground and growing, yeah, they can grow. We'll worry about ploughing once we've pulled it out. Especially since the cedar we now have on this map doesn't have any cultivating capabilities. It's not a direct drill, so we're going to have to cultivate and or plough the ground. The only ground prep equipment I have is this subsoiler, so we're going to have to use that to prepare for seeding. Not sure which tractor's going to do what job next. This obviously we need to get some grass back into this field. I could use the weeder that we have, because you can use that as a seeder. But for right now, we don't have any seed in it. So I'm not... got a bit of working with, but I may just use the seeder we have already filled up. I also want to fertilise the fields that we have if they need it. As I said, since I've ploughed in so many fields, I'm not sure how many actually need fertiliser. Because I can't see what I'm doing now. So what do I think of this map so far? The trees are a pain in the butt. The stuff that's in the ground is a bit... it's not ideal, shall we say. I could get away with a lot more if I had sort of wheat fields and barley fields and corn fields or whatever. But as it is, the fields I bought were sugar beet. I bought the circle of fields that surrounds the yard. And unfortunately, sugar beet, cotton, they all need ploughed, they all need weeding. On the bright side, none of them needed lime. Okay, take care, Scorch. But it's a good farm for small equipment and one person. The problem I'm finding with Marwell Manor is, you know, it's a 4-hour job to plough a field. It's a 4-hour job to plant, or 2-hour job to plant a field, because the fields there are big. Even though it's a small map, the roads are small, so you can't shift big equipment from one side to the other. But you do need some good size equipment or a lot of time. I think it makes a fairly good multiplayer map, because if there's a couple of people, you can get more than one job done. Line costs are incredible, and I may, while I've got all the fields lined now, I probably won't do that again because it costs way too much money. Paying workers to do the work costs way too much money. You're talking about £2,000 per hour working. On this map, not so much, because worker's done in 10 minutes. And then, the one we just sent off weeding everywhere, he's probably finished. He's probably just sitting there waiting for me to tell him to do something. So that was 5 minutes, and I'm now not paying him for anything. But Marwell Manor, you're paying them constantly for the entire hour, and then the next hour, and then the next hour. I think my daily wage bill's coming out at about £20,000 a day. Now, fortunately, large fields are great, because once you get them harvested, they bring in tons of money. I think the big field 18's first crop, I planted it with soybeans, and even with a bad yield, I've made about £100,000 just off that. So, there is a benefit to having big fields. These fields are not going to make me a lot of money per field, but I bought 6 of them. So, and it doesn't take long to do each one. So, tonight's session, I don't know how long we've been running. I'm going to switch pages. Dashboard. There we go. So we've been running about an hour and 30 minutes, and so far I've done some seeding, I've done some ploughing, I've done some weeding, I've stacked some bales, I cut some grass, I let the worker do the windrowing, I did the baling. So I've done a lot of different tasks, but they're all relatively short, and then we're moving on to the next one. I think this is probably the slowest task I do. But this is one of the larger fields, so it's going to take a little bit longer to work. Wage payment, 411. Or is that 140? 411. So not significant, although with the amount of money we have and the size of loan we have, that's kind of a big deal. Its new farmer mode, this farm comes with cowshed. It might come with sheep too, I can't remember. The way I looked at it, the fields you get, there wasn't enough in the way of grass. Keep cows and sheep happy. I mean, you saw there I got 10 bales. On Marwell Manor I can make 74, and I think I kept you can create it over 100 off the field 19, and I kept 40 hay bales and 40 silage bales, and the first crop you have is barley, so I kept about 40 straw bales too, and I used about 20% of the supply feeding 20 cows, so that's kind of tough. So there's no way I could afford on this map, even with this field, to feed 20 cows. 16, I'd need 16 bales, and then I need 16 bales split silage and hay. I also need 8 more bales of straw, and I'm going to be a while before I manufacture that many. So I don't have any animal pens on the farm at the moment. This is purely arable. I can't remember whether the other thing the patch said it fixed was the lighting, when the lights come on for field work and such like. Because I've noticed under patch 1.2 in some places you end up with the worker doesn't turn the lights on until it's pitch dark. Missed a bit. So it looks like I missed a bit over there too. I missed 2 bits. Okay, let's break the top. There we go. Got some. I'm going to give the modder this. It does sound like an old tractor. I'm not really inclined, but I wonder if you put different sounds on depending on the engine you had in it. Or have in it. Okay, I think there's a plot of grass up here somewhere. Right about there.